Welcome, Blood Brothers and Sanguine Sisters, to Deeply Discussing Dexter. I'm your host, Dale Maxfield. I'm joined by Aaron Caldwell.
Hello.
Brooke Merritt.
Hi.
And Zach Rowland.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
And on today's episode, we are discussing Season 8, Episode 5, This Little Piggy. On this episode, Vogel gets Vogel-napped, Quinn is all about the Hamiltons, baby, and Deb and Dexter are totally fine now. Thanks. What did you guys think of this episode overall?
This was a really bad episode. Like, there were so many places you could have gone from the last episode, and this is what we get. I just did not like where they went with how fine a bow they put on the Deb and Dexter dynamic.
Yeah, I agree. I think this was where I completely lost faith in the show. I was pretty on board with season 7, and I was pretty on board with what they'd done so far in season 8. And the way this episode, I mean, it starts out with them pretty close to reconciled, and by the end of the episode, everything's fine. Everything's totally fine. And that's just ridiculous to me.
Well, I mean, like, they drove off into a lake. Deb's car, was it Deb's or Dexter's car? It was Deb's, right?
It was Deb.
Okay.
Or no, it was Dexter. It was a motor pool car.
Okay.
Deb reached over and hit the gas, and
you would figure that at some point cops would have been called to the scene of a wreck, and nobody outside of Deb, Vogel, and Dexter make mention of this wreck in this episode or ever.
Well, it's motor pool cars. Nobody cares about them.
I mean, all you do is just go borrow one. You don't even have to sign anything. You just take it and go, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hated it too. The only good thing about this season was the tension with Deb and Dexter, and now let's just cut that off and make the whole season suck. Get rid of the only thing that had any kind of potential for entertainment.
Yeah, it's like they, with the writing or maybe with the storyboarding or whatever it was like, hey, what if we do this thing to do this thing so that we can do this thing? So, like, you know, it's just basically like servicing the plot, but not in a good way. They have
to. Yeah, I think you're right on, because they have to have after the finale last season, they have to have Deb and Dexter at odds. But for what they're going to do now, they have to get them back together, and they have to cement that. So this is like the most expedient way possible to do that.
Nothing really puts a family back together like a good old car crash.
An intentional one at that.
Yeah. Yeah, good old family car crash, and don't worry, Allstate is there.
Right. Well, and
no, Allstate wasn't there because nobody was there.
The car crash and the group murder plot.
Yeah, I can only assume, because there was a witness there when that pulled Deb out of the water. So I have to assume that they killed this witness.
That's why they're bonded now.
Well, she did say that the family that kills together. Nobody mentions this. Nobody knows this wreck ever happened.
The family that kills together heals together. That's our motto here at the Morgan household.
Yeah. And
the cult.
That whole, there's a cliffhanger and then you wait for the next week. It's like they pretended like they showed you everything you needed to know about Deb driving into the lake. It's like, well, Deb got out and then she saved Dexter, and now they're at a therapy session. They're both fine. They're not happy with each other, but they're fine. That's how it starts. Vogel is mediating a therapy session for Dexter and Deb. Deb's first solution to finding out that Harry committed suicide was to try and kill them both. Vogel points out that Deb has now hit rock bottom of what, the lake? I don't understand, but okay. Dexter says to hell with both of them and heads out to look for the brain surgeon.
Well, it's the therapist's job to point out your flaws and when you've hit rock bottom. So she knows better than anybody else, Deb especially. Okay. Now that she's been treating her for all of what, a month? Not even like.
Vogel is the worst therapist.
Yeah.
Like, let me name a therapist that was better than Vogel. The one that called Dexter a table. Or no. He called him a chair, and Deb needed a table.
Yeah, he's a chair.
That's
also
better
the
than
same.
Vogel.
That's also the same therapist that suggested that Deb might be in love with Dexter. Still better than Vogel.
Yeah.
This is all true. This is all true.
Harrison wants to watch cartoons. Dexter is browbeaten into dinner with Cassie by matchmaker Jamie. Masuka announces that he has a daughter. Quinn warns that she may want money or something. Quinn runs the briefing. Batista shows up with another lead to track down. Yates. Dexter knows they won't find him at home. Detective Black Lady asks Batista if Quinn is getting promoted instead of her. Batista says he hasn't decided yet. Matthews asks Quinn to be respectful of Mr. Hamilton, a murder suspect and rich friend of Miami Metro. Quinn, Dexter, and Detective Black Lady go to get a DNA sample, because you need two detectives and Dexter to do that. Hamilton admits to having an affair with the victim, Norma Rivera. He had sex with her that day, but says she was left alive. Hamilton's creepy son walks by and sets off Dexter's radar, and ours, the audience.
Yeah, so a lot of just like plot, some more plot that doesn't matter, some plot. And then, am I crazy, or did this like Hamilton Rivera thing come out of like nowhere? Was it anything in the previous episode that I'm missing?
No.
I was confused about that too.
The murder of the week.
Yeah. But the way they set it up, it seemed like it was a continuation of last time. I was really confused by that too, Zach. I was like, okay, am I supposed to remember Norma? Because it just sounded like they were segueing from a previous episode's case.
Right. And it wasn't.
Nope, apparently not. I thought, well, I forgot something else again. Okay, but didn't exist. Yeah. That's why I forgot.
I don't think there was.
No, that starts in this episode.
Yeah, it's just so daunting. It's like a hard start where you're like, oh man, maybe I missed something, or I don't know. But yeah, like out of nowhere, they're like, oh, by the way, take it easy on Mr. Hamilton. They're like, who the hell's Mr. Hamilton? Alexander? I don't know.
Honestly, like the son could not have looked more guilty if he was dressed as Miguel as the Unabomber.
Yeah.
He's very subtle. Very subtle.
They really, he should have just had a shirt that said, I did it.
Or one that just said, I'm in Slytherin. Like, just obvious villain is obvious.
It's got a real Draco Malfoy essence.
Yeah. So Creepy Son asks Dexter for details about the murder. He tells Dexter his father isn't a murderer. Vogel puts on some diegetic music from her iTunes so that Yates can smash a window and grab her. Deb drops by and finds Vogel's house trashed.
Seriously, the worst. Like, why does she even exist?
Yeah, she puts on her music. She's going to drink her tea, and then they, like, break a window with a chair.
Yeah, also, the whole setup of that place is very weird. Because, like, that area, I guess, is in sort of, like, the side back. Because her front door is in a different area.
Yeah.
It's weird, because I was like, oh, this guy really went the lengths to, like, go to the back and smash through, and, like, I don't know. It's almost like that secret alleyway that Miami Metro has, where you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I think the way it works is that her office is sort of in like it's like a 5-sided room with windows all the way around it, and one of the sides is like the walkway that goes to the door. So you have to walk past the office to get to the door and come in. but he just walked up to the window and threw like a patio chair through it in a way that like modern home glass wouldn't break like that. Like it would bounce off and maybe leave a nick, and that's about it.
And also, isn't it like broad daylight? So is nobody around? Is nobody paying attention? It seems like a sort of affluent neighborhood. Like I just don't get it.
Nobody gets it.
Yeah.
There's nothing to get here.
All right.
Dexter arrives at Yates's house where they found a bunch of buried bodies. The bodies all just have the left shoe. Deb arrives and tells Dexter that Vogel has been taken. She wants to help him rescue her. Dexter asks why Deb saved him. She says when she saw the car go under the water, she couldn't imagine her life without him in it.
I feel like this is the same thing that happened to Colin Hanks as Travis Marshall, where the directors are like hiding a little secret from him or from her, and they're like, okay, today your motivation is this, like you hate your brother. Okay, now in this scene you really want to be back with your brother. Okay, this scene you hate your brother again. Like there's just so many conflicting motivations for Deb right now. I'm not sure where to put my allegiances.
I think it's right where you were talking about at the beginning, where they had plot points for where they wanted Deb's story to go, and those points make sense, but then they like put like 3 of them right in a row without any development between them.
Yeah. And so then you're like just even more confused because you don't know if you've missed something. Like it feels like you've missed something, right?
Yeah, it's like make up your mind, Deb. But
quit being a goddamn hot dog stand.
Vogel tells Yates that she was only trying to make him better. Yates wants to lure Dexter in. Quinn and Detective Black Lady get eyewitnesses who saw Hamilton's son near where the body was found. Masuka's daughter tells Masuka that her mom died and she reached out because she was feeling alone. She orders a bunch of stuff from the food cart when Masuka offers to pay.
Yeah, that girl does not eat that much. She had like a breakfast burrito, a muffin, a couple of protein bars, a cappuccino.
Part of it was to go.
Like,
Yeah, she got some to go for later.
Like when daddy's paying, you get what you want.
And although Masuka has not ever been a father before, I think he knows how to be a daddy.
Oh, he definitely knows how to be a daddy.
Stop.
Hey, can you just ignore all that tranny stuff on my on my laptop? Great, thanks.
Oh no.
That was him, not me. I didn't say that. He said it.
Yeah, Good idea to clarify that.
Quinn's eyewitness recants, and Matthews tells him to find something more concrete before he messes with Zach Hamilton. Masuka asks Deb to run a background check on his daughter. He's worried there is a catch. Dexter arrives home. Quinn, Jamie, and Cassie are there for dinner. Dexter tries to get out of it, but Jamie gives him an ultimatum. He stays or she leaves him with Harrison. Dexter works a side deal with Cassie and escapes to look for Vogel with Deb.
Yeah, the way he did it too was just so chill and totally nonchalant, where she's like, I gotta get up early tomorrow, I gotta go. Yeah, me too, bye.
Yeah, I got a lot of work to do.
Like,
okay, bye. It's like that
so
that
stupid.
gif of Homer Simpson backing into the bush where you just disappears.
It was so not subtle and also Jamie already knows. So you've already played your hand and now you're even more like, yeah, he's so mean to Jamie. I feel so bad for her.
But I
She
love
got
that
a
she's
kid
like,
out of the deal.
she's like, that's true. She's like, if you don't do this, I'm going to leave you with Harrison. Yeah, with his own kid. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and he used a lame excuse to leave his own house.
right.
What are you doing? Just leave.
I wanted a screenshot. I think it was from this episode where Dexter is just like abandoning her with him again, and she's like Windexing his countertop, and it's just like, who is this person? Who is this like fairy godmother babysitter that just is always happy to stay there with the kid? And
Yeah.
She's
No matter what.
supposedly a student, isn't she? I've never seen her go to class.
I've also never seen a student clean like that. Like, that's not how students live.
a nanny or a babysitter doesn't clean your house. That's not part of the
One who
deal.
gets a free, like, attached apartment to your apartment and lives, rent free, maybe.
I mean,
Well, no, we figured out that she doesn't live there. She lives with Angel. Dexter has that apartment as like the daycare for his, like that. He has that whole apartment just for them to have
Jesus.
daycare in.
Well,
It's
when-
But
ridiculous.
she basically lives there. I mean, when does she get
that's
to go
true.
home?
Like
When
14 and
does she go
15
home?
hours a day she lives there.
I
yeah.
actually
Right.
think that's a mess up because when they
Minimum.
first introduce her, he mentions that he pays for the apartment so Jamie has a place to stay.
I guess.
But
I
that
mean,
was
I
back
think
in,
like
like,
so she has.
season 6.
It's like so she has a bedroom while she's there of her own.
Yeah.
but it's not where she lives. She definitely lives with Angel because that's
Well,
where
yeah,
she and
we
Angel.
know that now,
yeah,
but still.
Because she was getting some La Passion and he came home.
It's like she gets to go home for like 3 hours a week so she can hook up with Quinn, and then
So
she
she
has to
can
come
hook up
right
with
back to
Quinn.
Dexter's.
if she can sneak past Angel.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's. I don't know. She feels like she's a human trafficking victim of some kind.
I mean, he is loaded.
Dexter, yeah. Yates takes off one of Vogel's shoes. She starts talking about how Yates' mother abused him. He tries to smash one of her toes, and she starts role-playing as his mother. She slaps him hard, drawing blood. Yates leaves to deal with his wound, and Vogel calls Dexter and leaves the phone out so he and Deb can hear. Elway traces the number, and Dexter and Deb race to the rescue. Yates eventually sees the phone, and when Deb and Dexter arrive at the house, they find Vogel tied up in a closet.
This was one of my favorite scenes of this episode. Because when Vogel,
She just starts slapping that guy.
she just starts hitting him, saying, "You little shit," I just started laughing. I almost died. It was just the funniest thing to me.
I think we know Aaron's line of the episode, just saying.
You little shit. You're worthless.
It was hilarious. Just like she just starts yelling and hitting him, and I'm like, oh, she didn't think at one point to hit the serial killer. This is fine.
Yeah, her and all of the other victims that they dug up from the backyard. Like nobody fought back. Cool.
And that one lesion in his brain makes him susceptible to slapping.
That's his one weakness.
His one weakness is slapping
His kryptonite is being slapped.
Yeah.
and being told he's a little shit. You have to use the code word.
Stop that, you little shit. It was just great.
This week on NBC's The Slap, Vogel gets hit again and again and again.
The sister series to Snapped is slapped.
Might be onto something there.
The show tries to fake us into thinking Yates is going to stab Deb from under the bed, but Dexter stabs him through the bed with a curtain rod, and he dies.
Bullshit.
Yep.
What the hell kind
That
of
is
curtain
such
rod?
bullshit.
Okay. So one, this is straight out of Friday the 13th.
It is.
How did Dexter
Which makes it more ridiculous already.
How did Dexter get on the bed without him knowing?
Nobody
He
knows.
didn't get on the bed. He, reached up, grabbed the wrought iron curtain rod, and then jumped and put his full weight through the middle of the bed.
Okay, because
And it happened to hit him right in the heart.
Oh, God.
Through the
So
mattress,
good.
through the
So
box
good.
spring, through Yates, and into the ground.
dude, I'm telling you, this is how Kevin Bacon got it in Friday the 13th 1. Just with an arrow.
That came up
You
through
mean
the
something,
bottom of the bed
something
for the
sharp?
record, but just saying.
I mean, there
How
was
sharp is a wrought iron curtain rod?
there was a point. There was
Yeah,
a
there
point
was
on
an arrow from underneath the mattress that took him out.
It was the jump, man. It was the jump that just.
Not a curtain rod.
Yeah,
Arrow,
he looked
curtain
like
rod,
Leonidas.
arrow, curtain rod.
He looked like Leonidas in 300, but even that was better.
I'm like, even if he gets through the whole bed, if he gets through the mattress and he gets through the box spring with that curtain rod, which with his full weight, maybe he does that. Like, at best, he's going to bruise that guy. Or that guy's going to have, like, you know, a 1/4-inch divot in his arm or his back somewhere. But for it to go straight through his freaking heart, it's just ridiculous.
So you're saying you didn't buy it?
It was like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer moment.
How dare you?
They're staking people.
Don't compare that. Come on. Buffy was never that bad.
You'll get over it.
Wow, we got some real hardcore Buff fans in here.
I'm appalled
You'll
right
get
there
over
with
it.
you, Aaron.
Yeah, really sucked the wind right out of you.
Oh, good.
It was stupid is what I'm saying. Dexter
stupid.
gathers up brain matter to dispose of along with Yates. Deb's fine. Deb says the family that kills together. Vogel and Deb go out on the boat with Dexter to dump the body. Dexter says he took them out because he wanted to be with family.
I really wish this would have been playing some like Christmas music, like some sort of montage here of them just laughing like the end of a Thundercats episode.
Vogel's just shaking sleigh bells. Shing, 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 shing.
Just like, we killed that guy.
A little kumbaya at the end of the road.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the first time he's taken Deb out on the boat. He takes Vogel too.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
That's shitty. That's so shitty. Yeah, she should get her own personal ride.
Well, they're the family that kills together now, so, you know.
And so the whole time I'm thinking my was the theory that I had of Vogel being like the mastermind behind all of these like killers and stuff. I was like, oh, okay, Vogel kidnapped her to like play into it because they're gonna try to trap Dexter, and then Dexter's gonna find out that Vogel is actually in on it, and she's actually been creating these horrible serial killers and all this stuff, and like all this stuff, and then all this shit that actually happens, and I was like, fuck you, Dexter. Meaning the whole show. Just like, I can't believe I came up with a better idea. I mean, I guess, you know, Scott Buck, whatever, but like, I feel like my theory was at least more interesting than what they concocted and poorly executed in this episode. Like, by far the worst episode of the season, maybe one of the worst overall. It's hard to beat most of season 6, though.
Oh, you sweet summer child.
Yeah. Yeah, it is way hard to beat season 6. Yeah, I mean, again, it goes back to they had a plan for season 8 for what they wanted to accomplish in it, and I think they tried to do too many things, or they just didn't give things enough time to breathe and actually feel like they were naturally progressing at all. So this was directed by Romeo Tyrone. And this was his final episode of the series. He was also the cinematographer for seasons 1 through 6. This was written by Scott Reynolds, who wrote 12 episodes between seasons 2 and 8. What is the best line of the episode?
Take this, Aaron.
I said, stop that, you little shit.
I know, that's why I told you to take it.
Just so good.
Yeah, I'm without. I truly try to find one, or I'll latch onto one throughout, but like, no, there was no. Yeah, I mean, Aaron's line is about as close as you can get, but this was truly awful.
Yeah, I also struggled, so I'm going to steal Aaron's just because I have no other options.
Yeah, I had nothing going into that final scene, and then that happened, and I laughed a lot, and I was like, well, there it is.
How about the worst line of the episode?
The family that kills together.
Same.
Yeah, that's a good one. I had, I don't know why, because I think it's just our trend with Masuka, but she's a Masuka through and through, and that's weird. That just sounds weird coming from Masuka.
True.
Performance of the episode.
The curtain rod.
I mean, like, that's a heavy-duty curtain rod. I
That-
can't.
It is.
That performance had layers.
That curtain rod acted like it could actually go through a bed and through someone, and that took some chops.
Yeah.
It went through more changes, more layers than anything else we've seen this episode. So
Exactly.
I mean, and I guess if we have to give it to somebody, Vogel.
No. No,
This is
Charlotte
her only
Rampling's
shot.
she's
You little shit!
a really good actress in real life. How did she get so bad?
Are you insinuating that this isn't real life? What is happening?
Yeah, it's
I
this does not count.
no. I only went back and put Vogel later because I was like Aaron, where I was like, I guess I have to give it to somebody legit. But what I really put was Jamie the matchmaker, because this is when she tries to set Dexter up, and the ultimatum is or leave you with your own son.
Yeah.
So props to Jamie.
That's true. Jamie standing up to Dexter for abandoning his son is long overdue. So I could see that.
But it wasn't even that she was standing up to him for abandoning
Yeah,
him.
no.
She was more like using it as leverage. Like,
Right.
hey, if you don't do what I want, you have to watch your own kid.
right.
Terrifying.
I'm going to leave you
What
here
a
with
punishment.
Harrison.
Yeah.
And then he did what she
Yeah, and
asked.
we-
Like, it was the worst punishment she could have put down.
It was.
It was her stop that, you little shit moment. It was awesome.
Yeah, because all babies need to be treated like babies, and Dexter is just a big baby.
This has been Deeply Discussing Dexter. Thanks everybody for listening. Thanks you guys for helping me out. We'll see you on the next episode.